Have you ever felt?
Are you listening? Damn.
Welcome to week 31, last one of 2018. I just wanted to spend a bit of time today really looking at some of the things that have happened over this last year and looking mainly at four things I've identified as being things that have been important to me this year. They're pretty generalised things, but I'm going to go into some specifics. And I've got a question for you guys this week to kind of give me a little bit of feedback from what you think you've taken from 2018 in terms of training and in terms of things that you've observed. I think it's been a pretty good year for me in general. Obviously, I've had my ups and downs with injury and illness. The minute I started doing these vlogs just over 6 months ago, I started it with a knee injury that still hasn't gone, and then shortly afterwards ended up with a chest infection that laid me out for the best part of 2 months. So it's been a bit of a mixed bag this year for me, and I guess some of you have had the same sort of thing happen. You might have had an absolutely banger of a year. I know some of you have raced and had amazing times, hit your goals and all the rest of it, and some of you have struggled a little bit like me. That doesn't make it a bad year necessarily. It just means that maybe those of us that haven't had such a successful year have actually learnt a bit more than those of us that haven't. So the first category I wanted to talk about, number one, is my friends. When I was struck down with the chest infection in the summer and I couldn't train because it was too dangerous, I really realised the importance of my club mates, the people that I really missed at swimming, at Masters, and from the running club, from Cleveland Athletics, and missing the interaction with them, just the kind of social aspect of actually being with other human beings. But once I started training again, I also realised their importance to me as someone that was training, and the motivation and the encouragement that I get from them, and I hope that I give to them as well. Alongside that, there's my social friendship group that this year I've become a lot more aware of how important my social friendship group has been as well. The friends that me and my wife have, and how important it is to spend some time with them and getting to know them even better. And then also the last group of friends that I really class as being my best friends in the whole world, and my family, and how important they've been to me in keeping me sane and still supporting me in this kind of endeavour to kind of make a better version of me, which is really my drive overall, is to try and be the best human being I can and to improve every day on the last version of me. I read a quote yesterday online that said the definition of hell was on your last day on earth meeting the person that you could have been, and I think that's a really cool quote. I endeavour to try and be that best person I can, and that's really my kind of main goal. So my sporty friends, my social friends and my family friends are really the most important thing at the top of my list that I've kind of really paid attention to this year. The second thing I was thinking about in 2018 really was how I've reacted to things. So possibly as a repercussion of having that chest infection, not being able to train, I was really quite surprised at how positive I was about dealing with that, and that I was looking for any positive that I possibly could. And reaction to things is something that we actually have control over. As a result of my reaction to being poorly and that positivity, I'm also hyper aware that every time I pull my trainers on, I feel extremely lucky. I've been able to run more in the last 3 weeks than I've been able to run in the last 6 months, almost a year possibly, and I'm really grateful for that every time I tie up my laces. So my reactions to things are something that I've really become acutely aware of this year. Number 3, creating stuff. Another thing I've been super aware of this year is how much I've enjoyed creating new things. Obviously as a day job I create music and I've enjoyed that all my life. But I've also been aware over this last year how much I've enjoyed making these videos and getting back into my filmmaking. I've had 3 kind of careers of filmmaking. It's been really nice to come back to making films. It's something that I want to kind of invest more of my time into making more of these kind of films, and these vlogs have really brought that home for me as a creative method. I've also enjoyed starting a couple of new businesses and creating all the stuff that goes alongside that, all of the social media side of things, creating training plans and plans for the coaching side of things and the training camp. And one of the things I really want to make sure I focus on next year is becoming a little bit more in control of the music and the videos that I write myself and I create, and become better at doing that. Trying to tell more stories. I'm a big fan of storytelling and I really enjoy that process, and I really want to become a little bit better at trying to do that. Rather than just making these kind of vlogs every week in my bike shed, I'd like to kind of actually make this more into a story next year and actually follow the pathway outside of these 4 wooden walls. But creating things is something that drives me. I need to make new things all the time, whether it's art creating or business creating. It's definitely something that drives me. Number 4, learning. I've always liked to learn things. I always feel that knowledge is power. I don't like being the same as I was yesterday. I like to increase my knowledge base. Why is there's many reasons why, and some of them are possibly flawed, but I do enjoy learning things. I like learning how to train smarter, be more efficient with our time. I like learning how to be more efficient in our practice in terms of learning music. And I just want to learn as much as I can about being a human. I don't want to be the same as I was yesterday. I want to be a better version of myself the next day. I want to take those ideas for training that I've been developing over the last couple of months in terms of the 80-20 stuff from Matt Fitzgerald and think about how that might be applied to music and teaching and developing my own ability in delivering that stuff and being more of an asset to the students at university so I can help them more and be more of use to them. Ultimately, learning stuff is something that I love. I absolutely adore learning new things from people, from books, from research that I do, wherever it may be. That knowledge base is something that I want to increase on a daily basis. Part of that is going to be learning how to tell these stories a bit better. I want to take my learning into a new level of kind of storytelling, as I said before, with the creating side of things. I look at the likes of Casey Neistat and Peter McKinnon, Lionel Sanders, Dan Mace, those guys, and they tell the stories so well. That's something that I definitely want to develop into 2019. So my question to you that I'd like you to put in the comments below is, what have you learned in 2018? What have you gained out of this year? Not what you're going to do next year. That will take care of itself. But I want to know what it is that you've learned the most of this year. It can be 1 point, it could be 2, 3, 4 points. So I don't really mind what it is. It could be completely related to triathlon. It could be related to you as a person. It could be related to business, work, family. I don't mind. I'm just really keen to know what it is that you've learned this year, this last 12 months. What is it that you've picked up on that has inspired you, and what have you learnt from that part of the process? So put the comments in below. I'd be interested to know what they are and whether I can learn anything from them, and just see what your experiences are. So here's what I've been up to this week. I mean, I don't know what you want me to say. It's been Christmas this week. Tuesday was Christmas Day. I took that off completely. I didn't do any training at all. The only training I did was some bicep curls, getting food from the table to my mouth. It was a really good Christmas Day. We spent the day with some friends and they cooked an amazing meal for us, I'm sure, and I hope all of you had a good Christmas. I did train around it. I've got in just over 7 hours this week. Last week I did 11 hours, so it's supposed to be another week of intensity, but it actually did drop off a little bit this week in terms of 3 to 4 hours, but that's okay. I don't need the hours so much as the intensity. And my training stress score this week, it was lower than last week's. It was quite high at 617 TSS score last week, and this week it's 402, so quite a big difference. I'm into a recovery next week, and it'd be interesting to see how any of my testing might have improved over these intensive couple of weeks that I've been doing. My CTL's only gone up a couple of points from last week, from 46 to 48. Not quite such a big jump as I had last week. I haven't weighed myself. Who in their right minds weighs themselves on Christmas week? Did you weigh yourself on Christmas week? Nobody would weigh themselves on Christmas week. I mean, I didn't weigh myself, so I don't know what my weight is. I'm going to set myself a weight goal of getting underneath 90 kilos by the end of January. That's what I'm going to try and do, and we'll see how we get along the way. And I'll weigh myself next week. I promise I'll weigh myself next week, but I'm not going to weigh myself this week. It's just not going to be the right thing to do. So I spread my training quite well over this week. I did 3 turbo sessions, 2 runs and 2 swims. Hard to get in around the kind of pool closures and everything else, but ultimately I really enjoyed myself, and I did really rigidly stick to those 80-20 plans, both in my swimming and in my running and in my turbo sessions. The swimming was interesting, dipping from the medium slow lane to the fast lane to get my different ratios up together, and the runs were really good fun because I've never really done run sessions where I've gone out and done long, slow runs at the very beginning for half an hour or so, and then done intervals within it. It's only ever really been a warm-up, a short warm-up, and then straight into the intervals. So that was quite enjoyable to mix it up a little bit. And in terms of the turbo sessions, they were standard turbo sessions really off the Trainer Road, and I did an hour and a half with the club at the local village hall, which was really good fun a couple of days after Christmas, try and wipe off some of the excess. Anyway, don't forget the question below. I'm really interested to know what you got out of 2018. I'm going to start telling more stories this week. I'm going to start trying to get some kind of story into this week and look at what is actually going on rather than just giving you a summary. But anyway, hope you've had a fantastic 2018. I've really enjoyed it. Thanks for joining me along the journey. I know I've got a few more subscribers, people that I don't actually know, which is kind of nice, and people from abroad that are into tri, which is really encouraging and really exciting. I'd really like to hear from you guys, and here's to 2019 and to being faster, fitter, stronger. Have a look at the videos that I've made on the playlist here for the rest of this year that happened earlier in 2018. I'll be making more obviously in 2019 in the run up to June for these 2A races that I've got. Otherwise, have a fantastic what's left of 2018, and I'll see you early on in 2019.